If you wouldn't describe yourself as a foodie, then you might not know him by name. But if someone describes our guest today, the resounding response is always, "Oh, yeah, I know him." Guy Fieri, known for his flamboyant personality, matched by his trademark spiky blonde hair and love of in-your-face flavors, is our cover story this month. Guy reigns over a culinary empire he likes to call Flavor Town. That includes involvement in 40 restaurants worldwide, 3 TV shows, 5 best-selling cookbooks, a spot in every local grocery store's condiment aisle, and now a wine label. That's a lot of flavor. There is just no stopping this guy. But we managed to wrangle a little bit of time with him to talk about how he managed to do it all and how he remains so positive, so self-assured, despite all the criticism that the snobs of the culinary world like to throw his way. Guy, excited to have you here and on our cover this month. I wish I was there with you chatting over a nice big pizza.
Well, pizza, steak, it's a buffet out here right now. We've cooked it all with your team.
You're speaking my language, man. So, I got to start by asking you, who is Guy Fieri? I mean, we see this over the top, the spiky hair, the unplugged personality on TV. Is that really you?
Yeah, it's kind of what you see is what you get. It's not something I tried to design, for TV. This is the way I've always been. And, but when you ask who's Guy Fieri, most importantly, Guy Fieri is the dad of Hunter and Ryder. That's my first job and my first responsibility and what I'm most proud of. And the rest of it is just good times, lots of craziness, lots of wild opportunities. But I don't like to get pigeonholed into one design of who I am, and everybody likes to try to brand you with, well, it's the guy with spiky hair, the guy with the tattoos, or the guy with all the shows. Or it's a lot of facets. But most importantly, I'm just Guy.
Yeah, and you know where your priorities are. That's awesome for anybody. Tell me, when did your love of food start?
I think since before I even knew that I had this love of food, but really it was hit home right when I was about 10. And there was a little argument that went on between my mom and I about what we were having for dinner. And at the time, I wasn't a big fan of eggplant parmesan, but now, of course, But I came around the corner. My mom was making eggplant parmesan, and I said, why can't we just have chicken parmesan like the normal families? And she, the normal family, of course, was the comment that got her. And she said, well, Guy, if you don't like what we're making, then you could cook. And living in a little town where you could go to the grocery store and charge the food and, to a tab and ride your bike anywhere you wanted to go in town, this little town called Ferndale, I did that. And made dinner for my parents that night, and my sister, and I don't even remember it was steak and maybe some pasta and so forth. And I just remember that expression and that look on my parents' face, my family's face when I had made that food, and they were kind of in awe. And I just said, I'd always been so interested. What was for lunch? What was for breakfast? What was for dinner? What are we going to have? Really, looking forward to it. And so it all just kind of came together at about 10, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah, I think that was the age Mozart hit his stride too.
Yeah, no, it was funny because we had a rule. My mom said I wasn't allowed to ask what was for dinner until we'd had lunch, because I'd come into in the kitchen in the morning for, getting ready for school, and I'd say, hey, what's for dinner tonight? And my mom hadn't even started her day. My parents owned their own business, and they were really hardworking people. And my mom's like, I haven't even had my coffee. I haven't even, and you're asking me what's for dinner, because I'd look forward to it. It was taco night. Taco was huge. Food is more than just consumption of your personal fuel. It's a moment. It's a time. It's an energy. It's an experience. It's something that should be cherished and respected and given its time, and not eaten on the run and eaten in the car. It should be sit down and enjoy your time.
And it's a chance to enjoy time with people.
No, exactly.
Running businesses, running teams of people is such a full-time job, and not to mention that you're a chef first and foremost, and as you said, your number one priority, your kids. You have quite the full plate, and pardon my puns here, what is the secret sauce to getting it all done? Do you read time management books? Do you keep a detailed calendar? How do you do what you do?
Really, I mean, there's so many facets in my opinion, to being successful. And I have a lot of people that I'm around that are successful. I think that's one of the facets, is be around successful people. If you got to put yourself in the environment if you want to be in that type of person. Well, maybe everybody says, well, I don't know anybody successful. I don't know anybody that makes big money. No, just look at whoever is doing their job or their trade or their hobby or their interest and doing it phenomenally well. And look at those disciplines that they employ to be really great. Usually the core fundamentals come out right off the top. Be honest, be humble, be real, be in the moment, be connected. These are the kind of principles, but these are things I was taught as a kid. We had dinner at home at 5:30 every night, and you had to be at the dinner table. And one of the reasons that I think that was kept on my grades or kept on my behavior outside of school or whatever these things were is because at 5:30 it was time to have a meet and greet with Jim and Penny. We were going to get right into things. So I think surround yourself with great people, follow the disciplines of those kinds of people, self-check. Manage yourself and self-check and check yourself. And that is something that you have to be real about, because if you're just going to go along in this idea that you're doing it all perfectly right, I mean, I'm self-adjusting and listening for feedback, which would be one of my other ones, is asking for feedback. What did you think of that? I can go and make something and I think it tastes fantastic. I put it in front of my family and my kid looks at me and says, too salty. Okay, well, that's great feedback. I thought it was great. Well, I've tried it 5 times as I've been cooking it. So it's all that type of stuff that has really been, and I could just go on and on. I mean, I'll bore you with it, but that's the type of fundamentals, and those are the things that my parents both taught me. Just the real core fundamentals. It doesn't take a bunch of glitz and glamour, and doesn't take. We didn't have any money. My parents didn't have any money by any means. We weren't poor, but we definitely didn't have money, and you can make it, and if you just work for it and stick to the game plan. Just to continue that discussion, one of the things that just amazes us about you and why we admire you so much is just how self-assured you are. And maybe more so than some of your colleagues and contemporaries in the industry, you get your share of criticism. You get it from all sides, from critics, from other chefs, everyday people. I mean, your kid who thinks your food's too salty. I mean, do you feel like you're constantly having to defend who you are? Or how do you handle that day in and day out? It doesn't seem like you let it get to you. Well, I mean, everything gets to everybody. I mean, I would be lying to you if I said that, my feelings don't get hurt. Everybody has feelings. Everybody, it could be the little obscure thing that'll kind of rattle your cage. I know who I am. I'm happy with who I am and what I've done to get where I'm at. I feel that I've, done it the right way. People have a choice of how what they want to like and what they don't want to like. There's things I don't like and there's people I don't like. I don't choose to go and publicize it or to talk about it, even before I was on TV and in this kind of stuff. I'm just not that kind of person. Why do I want to go waste my energy to talk about what I don't like about somebody? I mean, it just doesn't seem like that's making any progress. If I'm going to help them, then I'll go to their face and say, hey, by the way, I think your behavior, blah, 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 might get you in a different position. I've had friends come to me and say, hey, this might not, or that might not, take that. And that's kind of, getting some of the feedback that I was talking about in one of those, self-development traits, listen to those people that are important to you and listen to, what they're saying to you. But man, if I chase down everybody that's got a negative thing going, it's just, why? What's it really going to fix them so they won't hate? I mean, I don't know. But no, I don't want to give off this misunderstanding that I'm completely shielded from all pain and disappointment. You like to make like everybody to be happy, but unfortunately that's not the case. Well, what do you do then to stay upbeat, stay positive? Is it something that's been with you for the majority of your life? Was there a motto, a poem, a song lyric that inspired you? No, I'm not that. Don't get me that deep and that into it. No, you know what? I surround myself with great people. I mean, that's probably the real key to what I say my success is I'm surrounded by phenomenal people. My wife's a fantastic person, very, very real. My mom and dad are, I mean, those are the ones that deserve all the credit. My little sister, I lost my little sister to cancer 5 years ago. Another fantastic person, great sounding board, great balance, great yin and yang to my life. My two boys, that'll keep you the most real, is dealing with one in college and one in fourth grade. And then a great group of friends. I got friends that will, true friends are there in the good times and the bad times. Not just when you're doing great, but when you're having a tough time. And then, the crew on my knuckle sandwich team. My managers, my assistant, and my chefs, and all the people inside of my organization. So you surround yourself with great people, and it doesn't mean that it's going to solve every issue, every pain, every problem, every thing that comes your way. It's not perfect, but it sure gives you a better chance of surviving the crazy, turbulent world of things that go on around, and that's the best thing. That's kind of what my medicine to the situation is. Do I have my bad days? Absolutely, just like anybody else. I choose to go exercise. I go hike. I'm having a bad day. Not that every day you see me on the mountain I'm having a bad day, but I figure if I do something physical, as opposed to sitting there and dwelling on it, it usually tends to help.
You mentioned the loss of your sister to cancer, a terrible disease. Can you share a little bit about her, how you handled the loss of such an important person in your life? How did that change you?
Well, it's probably what continues to change me the most. Here's a girl that 38 years old, single mom, vegetarian, didn't drink, didn't do drugs, a massage therapist, really into African dance. Just a beautiful, amazing person, amazing woman. And her son is a shining example of how great she is, or my nephew Jules. She had cancer when she was 4 years old, and she beat that at a young age, at a very, difficult time in the world of cancer in 1976, and then lived cancer free. All her checkups were fantastic. She was at 5-year checkups at that point, and got a unique strain of melanoma. And within 1 year, we lost her. And she wasn't going to do chemo again. She remembered chemo as a kid, and she wasn't going to go through it again. And not that, there's really any cure for melanoma. But what it taught me, which I already knew, we already know these things. It's just sometimes we need to be reinforced or reminded or hit over the head, like I like to say, with them. And that is that there's one go around of this life, of this time of life. I believe there's other stuff that should be coming up. I hope there is. And here I am sitting in the midst of great opportunities and successes, and sharing this life with my sons, my family, and all these things that are going on. And losing my sister, who didn't deserve to be taken, who was living a really good life, just teaches me that there's no like right or wrong. There's no answer to who goes, how they go. It's unpredictable, and so you got to live every single day with that intensity and that zest for life that you can have. And so, and that kind of dovetails into all these things, tackle the projects today. Don't go to bed mad. All those things that, we tell you, what is that book? Everything you needed to know you learned in kindergarten. And so that's how I try to live my life.
That's just such a great lesson for people to learn. And it's just making the most of every day. I mean, it seems so trite, but it really is what life boils down to. I know you've said in previous interviews that you would never say something to the effect of, well, this is the best I'll ever be. That you're always trying to be a better chef, a better dad, a better person. What are you doing to make sure that you're always getting better? How do you go about it?
I don't have a conscious moment where I sit down and say, today, what am I going to do better today? I try to take situations and review the situations. We do it as a management team, with our restaurants or with an activity and an event that we may go and do, and we'll reflect the next week and sit down and say, okay, let's talk about that. How did the travel go? How did the presentation go? It's like when we do Triple D, we do Triple D all over the country, and we'll sit down and say, what location really rocked? What location had challenges? What was the goods of this week and the bads of this week? We go through these kind of things. And, so it's just kind of been the way I am. I'm always trying to, if you're not winning, what is it, Ricky Bobby? If you're not winning your second, there's some crazy line. But if you're not growing, are you dying? I mean, are you not? So to me, it's always been that drive to better, 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 and not to a compulsive point to where I'm driving myself nuts. It's just, hey, maybe I don't want to go through that again. Maybe I want to improve myself to do that better again. And being humble and being ready. Unfortunately, you look at the tattoos and the haircut, and everybody wants to say I'm larger than life and that I'm living this really loud style. I'm not a real loud person. I don't eat big volumes of food. I don't have, this is a lot of stuff that gets made up on my behalf, I guess, by other people. But I'm a pretty, what you see is what you get kind of guy. I mean, t-shirts and jeans, and that's that's about it, or shorts. So it's really just that. It's kind of putting all those same aspects of what got me here, employing those same aspects to keep me here.
You mentioned Hunter and Ryder, your two sons. I'm sure that they see you as a role model. What do you hope that they learn from you as their dad? What do you want to instill in them, help them grow up and take life head on? Be open-minded. Be a good communicator. We talk about our problems in our family and don't brush things under the carpet and deal with them, collectively sitting at the dinner table or sitting down to talk about it. It's really about dealing with it head on. Just taking responsibility, being honest. We all make mistakes. We all fail. We all do dumb stuff. I mean, it always happens. It's like you're human. And that's what we talk about, is not being afraid to take chances. My son and Ryder and I just he had to make a demonstration video how to make pizza for his 4th grade class. And he said to me, well, what if I do a bad job? And I said, well, why don't we find out if you're going to do a bad job? And then if you do such a bad job that you're not happy with it, then we can do a different project. But let's not do it because we haven't even done it to know if you're going to do a bad job. And that's really, people stop themselves from living their dream or living their opportunities because they're scared of the things that are out there. They're all out there. It's always going to be out there. And if you do all the things that are easy, well, then is it really going to be that much challenge? And we need challenge in our life. That's what keeps us going. So I think all those principles of communicating, my kids say, my son's 19 years old. He's at college. He's standing in a room full of buddies. And before he hangs up the phone, he always says, I love you, Dad. And to me, he's strong enough and focused enough and aware enough and balanced enough. That's a big thing, amongst 19-year-old boys, I imagine, to be able to say that. But that's how I was with my parents. And so just be real deal. Just be straight up. Be honest. Be who you are. Own it. And that's the principles that we teach. Yeah, and it sounds like that role model thing is I was absolutely spot on. Flip side to that question, who was your role model growing up? What's the one big lesson that you learned that has stayed with you all these years?
Oh, it's without question my dad. My dad and I are so different as adults. I'm into hot rods. I'm into motorsports. I'm into football games. I'm into all this kind of stuff. He doesn't care about it whatsoever. My dad's the guy that you could call and say, hey, I'm trying to I'm trying to put a garden in my backyard. My dad will be over there tomorrow morning. Or I'm trying to fix this thing on my car. My dad will be over there. My dad's a real handy, really knows a lot of things. But we're very different in that way. My dad has no interest ever to be in front of the TV. Not that it was something I was aspiring to, but that's just not his style, So we're very different in that way. But he's my Superman. My dad is, when you sit there and watch your mom and dad who've lived their lives and raised their kids and bury their daughter who's 38 years old when they're supposed to be going to retirement, and then they take on the responsibility of the grandson and help raise him as an only child. But he's just an amazing guy. He's always helping people. Helping people,
yeah. You've yourself done a lot of positive work when it comes to food, where charities are concerned. You have several programs, in fact, that focus on food and children. Why are those two things combined particularly important to you? I know about Cook with Your Kids Day, and is every Sunday in California. You launched that program to get kids cooking with their parents.
I came from a small town in Northern California, a little town called Ferndale. And that's just what your community does. That's just how I was raised. That's everybody helps everybody. And, I can really appreciate when times are tough and people step up. And you see it, you see it through Kickstarter programs. You see, a lot of programs going on. You see it through Facebook and so forth. But that was just always the way I was raised, is you help other people. But when it comes to kids, this is probably one of my number one mantras is, we got to teach children how to cook. We've skipped it through generations now. Once, we've gone to dual family incomes and things have changed, we skip kids cooking with their mom or cooking with their grandma. We went to how can we make food faster? How can we make food more convenient? How can we not sit down and eat, but pick it up in a window and eat it in our car going to our next event? And we lost a lot of the social dynamics that come along with eating great food or eating food. And that is, how did your day go? How are you feeling? Where are you at? Because if a kid starts, these kids go through a lot of different emotional levels at different periods of their life. But aside of all that, just the caveman trait of being able to put food in a pan and cook it and eat it and make it and feel responsible for what you eat and how you are and what it does to your body and just having those simple techniques. That's something I really think that we need to dial in. We're teaching kids a lot of things in school and they're super advanced in computers, more so than we ever were. And yet, if you take the average kid and you bring them over and you say, make me an omelet, they really wouldn't know where to get started. And I think that when we debilitate them and we don't give them that life skill, that life talent, that life tool, we're keeping them from experiencing that. And that starts to lead to other aspects about what they're eating and how they're eating and when they're eating and what those end results are. We can't rob Peter to pay Paul. We can't eat one thing and then take a medicine to fix the bad thing that we ate. We've got to take it from the beginning. And we got to eat, our food pyramid, it should be 90% fruits, vegetables, and grains, and a little bit of protein, a little bit of the proteins, not the proteins, but, the meats. And, we just have to get this tuned into kids. But this processed food movement, man, childhood obesity, come on. Kids should not be worried about childhood obesity. They should be worried about getting their ball from across the fence of the neighbor. That's what they're supposed to be worried about. But that's one of my real beliefs, and I take the time. Anytime a kid wants to talk to me about food, I'll take the time to rap with them about it because it's a core fundamental that we need to get back to kids. So you get me up on a soapbox on that one, man. I'll ramble on that one for hours.
All right. We have just a few more questions, and there's some fun ones coming up. But I want one last serious one. I read somewhere that you described your cooking as the gift that you have to give to the world, and I wondered if you'll talk about why you think that giving your talents as a chef to the world is so important, and why it's also something that everyone should do. Obviously, not everyone can cook, but we all have a talent to share, certainly.
Well, I don't know exactly where that quote came, but I don't want it to sound as pretentious as that sounds.
I might have fudged the wording a bit, sorry.
Yeah, but my point is this. I can't do anything else. I don't know how to, I could tell a good joke, kind of. I'm okay as a carpenter. I could change the oil in my truck. I've got enough of some of those skills. But what I know how to do, the song I know how to sing, the instrument I know how to play, the painting I know how to make is food. I'm not the best at it. Don't ever claim to be. I play the kind of music I play. I paint the kind of picture I paint. And so that's what my offering is. If I'm in the village with a bunch of people and someone's the carpenter and someone's the musician and I'll make the food. And that's how it's always been. Everybody's looked to me, the fraternity with buddies, camping, whatever it is. I'm always the one that is the center, even before TV and all that, blah, blah, blah. I've always been, that's what my contribution's been, is the food. And that's just kind of what it is. And I try to give everything else that I have that I can offer to my friends and to my family and to others. But the best thing I got is what I can cook.
Yeah, everybody has that one thing that they do the best, and we all have to chase that.
And we should embrace it. People, like some of my buddies are not good at anything except for computers. Some of my buddies are not good at cooking or computers or anything, but boy, they're funny. And they're just great to have around because they make you feel good, So everybody's got their thing, just offer what you have. It takes the whole village to make this happen. It just, as I believe we all raise the kids. I take a tremendous amount of interest in the education and development of all my friends' kids. And we should be all keeping an eye on what's going on and where things are going and how people are developing and so forth. I mean, this is a big opportunity that shouldn't be squandered. This opportunity of life, and that's why I say keep it positive. complain about things and fix things that you can do something with, that you can make a better situation of, and don't sweat the small stuff. Stay to the big picture.
Just incredible perspective there, Guy. So what do you say as we wind things down here? Let's just do some rapid fire questions. We ask these kind of things.
Unicorn.
Yeah, we ask these kind of things to everyone who appears on the CD. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. If you could be any superhero, who would you be? This is the toughest one yet.
You know what? Well, see, there's a debate. I just read an article the other day about do you ever read The Mentalist? Okay, so if I could, let's see, the superhero, I'd have to say Superman. And the reason is he's packed with the best goods. Batman's awesome, but it's a lot of gadgets. And when it comes down to the core fundamentals, Superman is, he's got the laser vision, he can fly, he's super strong, looks good in tights. No, I don't think that was the reason, but I'd say Superman.
You've got this, okay, you got this giant slow roaster, and it's got a full capacity of 36 chickens. Have you ever pushed it all the way to 36? Have you ever tried for 37?
50, 40. Yeah. No, if it says it comes and it cooks 35, absolutely it can cook 45. Oh, it doesn't cook 45? Oh, okay. I'll learn that one. But no, no, push the envelope. Don't ever take what is prescribed as that's what the benchmark is. That's all you can do. No. And I've fallen. I mean, we all, if you can't, you're not going to make it if you don't try. But no, I can't settle for 35. You got to go at least 40.
What's your favorite thing to do on the weekends?
Right now it's go to Ryder's basketball games. Ryder's a fourth grader going to the NBA, he thinks. But my kid has such massive passion about basketball that, he plays on 3 different leagues. Well, he plays all year round. He's the shortest guy on the team, but he's got such tenacity and great and really strong skills. Beat me. He'd have beat fourth grade versus fourth grade. Kid would have owned me. And going to our ranch, we have a ranch about an hour and a half away from our house, and I like being outdoors, and I like to work and be around nature and stack wood and build fires and do all that kind of stuff. So that's actually where I kind of recharge a lot is at the ranch. But yeah, that's probably my favorite thing between Ryder and the ranch.
I'll leave you with this one. How do you define success?
At the end of the day, how do the efforts equal the results? And if the efforts aren't strong enough and the results aren't there, or if the results are the expectations are too high and the efforts aren't, going to make the mark. I really think it's that balance. I think it's setting goals, accomplishing them, working hard, seeing it come to fruition. I think all of that. Of course, I can break it down into, other facets of it, explaining it. What do my parents think? What does my family think? What do my kids think? What do my friends, what is the feedback that I've received? How do I personally feel? But I think that having a really good game plan and putting really strong effort without too much sacrifice, without losing yourself in it, and making sure that the goal that you're going for is obtainable and realistic and maybe a little unrealistic and a little unattainable, but that, you got to have that extra. But I think it's having the efforts, making sure that there's a fine balance between the efforts and the results, and that they match up. And at the end of the day, what's your personal scorecard? How do I personally feel that I did? And that's what the reflection time and the self-awareness time and the availability to feedback that's what generates the next game, the next challenge, the next opportunity. So I wish I could button it up for you in a real clear, concise statement, but this is a gigantic challenge. This is like every TV show that they want to make a reality show about this competition or that competition. We're in the greatest competition of life. That is life. And there's all kinds of challenges and successes and treasures and pitfalls and all that goes on. What's the scorecard at the end of the day?
He's Guy Fieri. Guy, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, thank you. It's an honor to be involved, and I appreciate being recognized. And for this, you guys are, you definitely pick the heavy hitters to get things done, and just to be invited to have this discussion means a tremendous amount. So thank you all very much.
Man, I am amped up after that interview with Guy Fieri. I hope you are too. Before we move on to the next little nibble of nourishment for the brain, I want to make sure you have a few morsels of goodness to hang on to from this interview. First, something we've heard from so many breakthrough individuals. Guy said that in order to be a successful person yourself, you need to put yourself in the right type of environment. He advises that we should look around ourselves at the core fundamentals of the people we interact with. Those people and their core beliefs should be in line with our goals. It's important, too, that we listen to those very same people. Guy seemed pretty open when it came to feedback on his food. He serves as an example to us all. If we want to improve, we need to ask for feedback and accept constructive criticism willingly. Therein lies the power for improvement. Finally, I really liked what Guy had to say about just offering the talents that we have to the world. Oftentimes, in our rush to improve and succeed, we get carried away and we start trying to change too much or do things we aren't prepared to do. By focusing on what we have to offer, we embrace the chance to truly make a difference and succeed. Here's a trick I want you to try. You ready? Do a little self-assessment and identify your strengths, writing them all down. Then, actively work your way down the list, putting each of those strengths to work in your business and personal life. You'll see big results when you embrace your greatest strengths. Okay, next up, we have a great interview between two women who definitely have made a success of offering their very best talents to the world. Listen in as Laura Vanderkam interviews Barbara Corcoran.
Success Magazine Audio. Copyright Success Media. All rights reserved.